time, weather, and
Audio Jungle.
Welcome to my channel today. I truly appreciate you being here. And before you think this is just me trying to sell you something, let me tell you right from the beginning, I ain't selling anything on this video. Nothing. I'm not endorsing a product. I'm not mentioning a product. I'm just talking about my life and how it affected me, because I realized long ago creating this channel that I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only old fat Marine who remembers being thin and healthy and whatnot. And as you can see on the screen here, those are 3 pictures of me. But that doesn't tell the whole story. You see, yeah, all the way over on the left, that was after I got my commission. I was prior enlisted, and that was when I was a brand new boot. And then the next picture is probably a few years later, out civilian, gained a lot of weight, totally unhealthy, and then I lost a bunch. I lost over 100 pounds pretty quick. But, you know, that's not the whole story. The whole story is I gained it all back again. And I am not the only one who has done this. And let me tell you, I've tried every diet, I've tried every diet recipe, I've tried all of that stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, diets don't work. They just don't work. And this picture here is not me, but it may as well have been me, because it got to the point where I couldn't bend over. It was tiring carrying around all the weight. I'm down 47 pounds now, I think, and I'm not bragging. That's not what I'm here for. What I want to talk about is, as we prepare for what we know is coming economically, I just want to be healthier. Because what most people don't realize is that in the Marine Corps, the goal isn't to be a body weight lifter or massive muscles. It's to be able to move your body in all situations. Up, down, right, left, whatever. It's to be able to be mobile. So just chill out and relax. And I'm going to talk about a success story that I'm having with my weight loss journey. And I'm not selling anything. Now, what I want to do is today I want to talk about what I call the 10,000-year-old biology, and then we'll talk about how cortisol and stress help and also hurt. Okay? And you have to realize that the odds are against us, and it's not your fault if you're fighting obesity. It's not your fault. It really isn't. And here's why. We have in us a 10,000-year-old biology. It's just genetics, okay? And then we have cortisol production in our body. And then kind of we're going to discuss sitting down and eating in modern day America. And then we're going to talk about corporate America. And this is all about how to get to a healthy weight. Because 10,000 years ago, food was pretty much part of life, as in you worked it, you needed it, obviously, and you cultivated and you hunted, or you did whatever you needed to do to eat. And you didn't really overeat, and, you know, calories in, calories out, very important back then. It was a balance. And you'll see in that bottom picture here that I can literally tell you, one day when I was in the Marine Corps as a young Marine, we were in Tunisia in North Africa. And having grown up in Brooklyn, let me tell you, the night sky was just, it blew my mind. I have never seen so many stars in all my life in one place. It was just wow. And, you know, 10,000 years ago, it was every night. So they were much more in touch with it than we are today. So what does all that have to do with weight loss? Well, very simple. Something called the fight or flight syndrome, okay? Now you see this little diorama here of this tribal man with a spear battling this bear, okay? This guy could either fight the bear or he could run away, okay? Here's a story which is from the Superman movie, okay? But we all have heard of stories of children or young people or people in general being able to pick up a vehicle off grandpa or something. I literally remember reading a story about it happening in southern Alabama not too long ago, where a 17-year-old girl picked a pickup truck off grandpa because the garage was on fire. I mean, it happens. And that's because of the fight or flight syndrome. Okay, your body produces cortisol, it produces adrenaline, it produces all of these hormones when you encounter a perceived threat, like a large dog barking during a morning walk. It just sets off the alarm. It's like the spidey sense of your brain, and it sets off a system that your whole body jumps to action. Okay, and then through the combination of nerve and hormone signals, this system prompts your adrenal glands located on top of your kidneys, and whoosh, hormones go out, including adrenaline and cortisol. That's in response to the stress of a dog barking, say. But guess what? We don't have bears attacking us every day here in America, hopefully. And modern day life in America is sitting behind a wheel getting all pissed off. But guess what? When you're behind the wheel and you get all pissed off, your body is still releasing the cortisol and the adrenaline for fight or flight. What if your child acts up or just totally pisses you off? Fight or flight. Cortisol. It still produces it. You go to work, customer, whoever, boss, screaming at you, and it happens. If you've ever worked in retail, you know what I'm talking about. And bills. Everybody deals with bills. And especially with inflation today, people probably start freaking out over all the increase in prices. All of these cause you to produce these hormones in abundance because you need the fuel to run away. You need the fuel to pick up the heavy truck, and your body will generate this by producing the ability, by giving you the energy through adrenaline and cortisol. But what happens here in America, because you can't poke an eye out of somebody in traffic. You can't poke the eye out of a kid or a banker, we don't do that here in America, and rightfully so. But your body is still producing all of these chemicals. What happens to these chemicals that your body is now producing if you're stressed out? Modern day life in America, there's a negative impact, okay? Because it's going to cause many, many different things to go bad in your system, okay? You get sick. It slows down healing process. The list just goes on and on. But the one that you really need to worry about is, and we're going to get more into this next time, is the increased risk of type 2 diabetes, and then weight gain and obesity. And I mean, we could go on. This is just to say a few of it, because remember, you're producing these hormones in response to stress, and then you're doing absolutely nothing with it. You're not running away and you're not fighting, so it just kind of sits there and simmers inside your body. But what happens is over time, this will create sleep problems for you. This will cause heart disease. This will cause you to gain weight. But here's the thing, okay? Weight gain, this blew my mind. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm only talking about what I'm doing in my life. Now, weight gain is a direct result in the belly because this cortisol, these hormones, this adrenaline doesn't go anywhere. So what your body does is it just stores it as fat in the belly. And when you see someone who has an abnormal belly like I did 12 weeks ago, because I was fat and I'm still overweight, but I feel so much better because I've lost 47 pounds and I've also learned to eliminate stress a little bit. But the thing is when your body is producing all these hormones and you don't fight off the bear or you don't run away, it just deposits all that energy into your belly and it causes belly fat. Okay? Now, here's something else to think about on the 10,000-year-old biology. You never thought stress made you gain weight, right? Well, this is going to blow your mind also. and it's called survival mode. Now, when we want to lose weight, what do? We go on a diet, right? We go on a diet. Now, remember, your definition of diet is what we don't eat anymore. Okay, we're not going to have sugar. I'm not going to have candy. I'm not going to have fast food. That's the average American's idea of a diet. Okay, and then somewhere right in the beginning, we also say, I'm going to start an exercise program. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to run. Well, let me tell you, if you cut your caloric intake one day and then on the next day you start an exercise program, you've already lost the battle and you're setting yourself up for failure on the very next time you diet. Again, because this one is going to fail. And here's why. It's because when your body needs energy, protein, it's going to get it where it needs to get it from. Okay? So if you automatically just start exercising the same time that you cut down your calories, your body will shut down itself and go into what's called starvation mode. And what this means is when you just cut out all the things that you erroneously think are unhealthy to eat, your body says, whoa, we're hungry. So it literally will stop burning the fat and it will start burning muscle. Okay? Think about that. That if you start a diet and you automatically start exercising without figuring out what you're going to eat and calories and whatnot, which really isn't that hard, and it's really not about the calories, is you will actually hurt yourself more because your body will cannibalize itself thinking it's starving to death and it will save the fat and burn the muscle. And then what happens is when you try to do something like this and then you fail, you binge eat. Now we have to understand the science behind binge eating because it's not your fault. And here's why. Years and years ago, I'm talking 10,000, we didn't have refrigerators. We didn't have storage units. We walked around, we found berries, we ate it. We may have saw animals and learned how to kill them, but it was a pretty exhausting thing to do. But here's the thing. When you came upon a field of berries, you ate what you could because they didn't last. You couldn't pick them and eat them 3 months later. Didn't have the technology. And especially that goes with meat. Sure, they could, smoke it and whatnot, but it's that technology may or may not have developed at that time. And they basically, people gouged themselves. It was built into your DNA. And here we sit 10,000 years later with this locked into our head that we need to eat because we have food. And I love this one picture in the upper right-hand corner. I actually took that photograph in a supermarket. And if I have to explain the irony of that photograph, which is not photoshopped, then you don't understand type 2 diabetes. And I really hope you come back next time when we talk. But as we continue on this journey, I can tell you from my own prior experiences that I am a carbohydrate junkie, okay? I took this photograph also. What's basically going on is our biology is literally killing us. And when combined with modern technology and making poor food choices, and then the food industry steps in. So let's look at the food industry. You see this here. If you didn't notice, virtually every fast food restaurant in existence, the colors are either red and or yellow, or a combination of which is orange, but red or yellow. The only difference I've seen lately is the Taco Bell one where they're all purple. But there's a reason for that, and that reason is because it stresses you out emotionally if you're hungry. It's what it's there for. Believe me, it's not coincidence that they're all red and or yellow. You just never noticed it before. Then the other thing you have to understand is the high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is like 20 times sweeter than sugar, and it has been proven to be more addictive than cocaine. Okay? I'm not making that up. But the thing that most people don't know about high fructose corn syrup is that it turns off the neuroreceptors in the brain to be able to feel or transmit the information that you're full. So you walk into a restaurant and everything is high fructose corn syrup, and you're still hungry at the end of the meal. And then you order dessert. Well, that's because high fructose corn syrup kicks in and it numbs your ability to feel full for about 15-20 minutes. And then by the time you're walking out to your car, you feel like you're going to puke because you ate too much. That's because then it kicks in, or the high fructose corn syrup wears off, however you want to phrase it. But try not to eat high fructose corn syrup and be aware of your surroundings. Our unhealthy world and unhealthy habits, it's just like an erosion of health over time. Okay, poor nutrition. If you're eating out every day, if you're eating out more than once a week, you're probably eating poorly. Poor nutrition. And what does that do? It makes you gain weight. You gain the weight, you get lazy. Because I know when I was almost 300 pounds, I did not want to walk around. I didn't want to do shit. And you have no energy. So you get very sedentary, probably fall asleep in front of the TV. And then that causes you to have restless sleep. Sleep apnea can even kick in, kick my ass for almost a year, snoring out of control, and that's all from being overweight. And then lack of good REM sleep causes stress because you're going to be freaking out on your daily stuff. Work becomes problems, and family and debts and all that just builds up. Your life goes out of balance. So what do? You eat. And it just creates this vicious circle, and it just feeds upon itself constantly. And you just gain more weight, and get more disillusioned. And then one day you just wake up and you feel as if you are just completely boxed in, and you really just don't know what to do. Okay? And that's where I was in the end of last year. You know, if you've been following the channel, you know my wife passed away, and talk about stress, and I knew I had to make a change. And that began basically with just looking at my habits. Okay? Because what happens here is it's the compounding of the daily choices. If you smoke a cigarette, it's probably not going to kill you. If you smoke a cigarette every day, you've increased your chances of lung cancer. If you smoke a pack of cigarettes every day, you've increased your chances even more. The same thing applies to the way we eat. If we're constantly taking in too much salt, constantly not having enough water, constantly not eating what we know we're supposed to eat, and the older we get, and then youth is not as nice to us, we basically become a state of non-sick. And here's the thing that I learned one time, and it literally blew my mind. If you walk up to someone, I'll ask you the question. Are you sick? Are you ill? And if your answer is no, and you're taking medications by prescription, like, I don't know, say metformin, blood sugar, and I'm not trying to tell you not to go to the doctor or stop taking medications. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I did my understanding on metformin is that the natural progression is if you don't change your habits and you don't eat better, it's a Band-Aid. And if you're on metformin, and if you're a doctor, puts the comments in the bottom, okay? I'm asking for full disclosure here because I'm the one not selling anything. But the normal course for metformin, in my understanding of not being a doctor, is that your body will eventually need a higher dosage. So you start off on a dosage, a couple years later they increase it. And if you don't change your habits and you don't change your daily choices, then over time, you'll start taking insulin. It's just the way it is, statistically. And as you live your life, you need to learn to live your life beyond being on a diet, okay? Here's why. It's because you got to make peace with food. Food's not the enemy. It's the knowledge that we have about the food. And you have to learn true weight loss is more about being healthy than dieting. And when you decide to become healthier, that's when the dieting stops. And then achieving a healthy weight just kind of happens. Because every decision that we make to improve the quality of our life, just every decision, to not have that hamburger or French fries, or have the hamburger but skip the fries and have a side salad. Every choice that we make is one step closer to better health. And it's not about a make or break diet. It's really not. And it's more about the journey to get there, because I can tell you the first time I lost 100 plus pounds and I got there and I stood on the scale in the shadows of the morning, and it was like, wow, what do I do now? And I just gained it all back. So that was a failure, and I'm ready to go back to succeed this time. And I'm doing it one moment at a time now. And I want to pass the word, because what I want to talk about next week is, it's not really my fault. It's not your fault that we're overweight. And you don't have to buy some diet or some pill or some exercise machine, because it's not going to work in the long run. And then that's what I want to talk about next week. And I really want to get into blood sugars. It's the most misunderstood part of weight loss. And I'm just going to leave you with this one little fact for next week, is that when your body is producing insulin, you are storing fat. When your body is not producing insulin, you're burning fat. That's all you really need to know to lose weight and keep it off life. We'll talk more about that next week. And again, like I promised, I'm not selling anything. Semper Fi.
Time, weather, and
Audio Jungle.
Delivery! Choo-choo, we have a package to deliver to Hungry Fat Chick and Nikocado Avocado. And here it is. A little snack, because we've been on a weight loss journey together. And it's time for a cheat meal, okay? Oh my gosh, that was a lot of work carrying on that. Those